This week on Handyman Corner, I thought I would address one of the great ecological issues of our time, namely the low trade-in value of used vehicles. How many times has it happened to you that you finally decide to bite the bullet and get yourself a new car? You drive down there in the old clunker, running on one cylinder, coughing up smoke like a Jamaican barbecue, and you say to the salesman, how much are you going to allow me for it? And he says roughly zero. So you push the whole unit back home, and that's why we got so many of these sitting out in the backyards, everybody's houses all the way across North America. Well, I'm thinking with this taxidermy shootout thing that we got going on, maybe we could turn this thing into a duck blind. Now, the first thing you have to do is you have to break the unit down into its components, which is actually not that hard to do because these cars usually have sweet spots. Yeah, there we are, right there. And you just hit her right at that area. Now you throw away anything that doesn't look like a duck blind, and then you reassemble all the duck blind-like components using an acetylene torch, or bolts, or rivets, or the handyman secret weapon, duct tape. Okay, that's the basic shape of it, but it's not exactly portable. So you should either have thought of that before you rip the wheels off, or you can do what I'll do. Camouflage it. Okay, now to me, this just screams ducks, huh? That paint job makes it look like they've been flying over it for years. And I added the decoys on top there for a little extra touch of credibility. If you don't have actual decoys, you could take some hood ornaments and put fur mitts on them. And you know, if you leave the car battery hooked up, you have your radio on, or your defroster's running, or your lights on for night hunting, or whatever. Now, I know most of you will do your shooting out the windows, but sometimes if the bugs get bad, you can roll up all the windows and still keep hunting. Watch this. Necessity is a mother of an inventor, isn't it? And there's lots of things you can make like this. A bus shelter for the kids, a dog house, an impressive toboggan, a whitewater suicide machine. You're only limited by your own imagination and the laws in your area. To me, it makes a great duck blind. So remember, until next time, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. I'll show you something that you can do with your old car. You know what I mean? This is an old car, but there's still something about it that gets my heart pounding. I think it's the lack of brakes. You know, we all got to go sometime, and frankly, I'd rather go with some kind of a head-on into the guardrail rather than spend my declining years in a retirement home or something. I don't know how I got off on that. You know, that's the trouble. I get started and then I go off on a crazy analogy, and that's the way I am with the car too. I got the car and I just can't leave well enough alone with it. And what I wanted to do today was I wanted to turn this door and the other door into the gull-wing. You know, the gull-wing door type of style, which they had on the old Mercedes, I believe, and Brooklyn had the gull-wing, and I believe gulls have them. I'm not sure on that one. Anyway, the first thing you got to do is you got to remove the door, which is not as easy as it sounds. All right. Well, what I've done here is I've poked a little hole in the roof, but I'm going to need that for later. So that's it. That's actually a time saver. Okay. By golly, this is really on there. There is a better way. Okay, where there's a van, there's a way. Now, all I gotta do is get this unit up here, put her on here. Now, what I have to do is create a hinge now through our pre-drilled hole, and I'm going to use the Handyman secret weapon, duct tape. And you want to put on 2 or 3 layers of duct tape on this, just so you're street legal. You know, you don't want the cops pulling you over. And you want to secure there, because there's nothing more inconvenient than having to pull off the highway and go back and get your door. Anyway, I think that's pretty secure there. We got enough tape for the other door, so Now I'm going to go and hook up the mechanism that will actually open the gull-wing door. Getting exciting, isn't it? Now, there you have it. If that doesn't scream Italian, then you're not listening. What I done was I got a garage door opener there. I got it from my neighbor's place while they were out. And I ran the chain from the door opener. It's mounted on the seat. And I ran the chain up through and hook her onto the door. And the duct tape here, I'll just hold her, and then I got the wireless remote for the garage door opener, and I walk up to my car, and I just feel like Marcello Master, you know. So anyway, until next time, remember, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Let's give our gull-wing door a shot. This week in the Handyman corner, we're going to show you how to make it a lot safer to drive at night. Step number 1 is you throw old man Sedgwick's truck keys into the lake. Step 2, you go around the front of your vehicle and you count the number of headlights. I come up with the number 2, not one of my favorites. I much prefer the number 10. Right now, we've got the headlights all attached with the Handyman secret weapon, duct tape. Strong and yet flexible enough that you can adjust the headlights even after they're in position. So I can have 2 facing left, a couple up, a couple down, a couple to the right, and the other one's just to kind of fill in. I'm going to see anything on the road in front of me with a rig like this. And even if 1 or 2 of them are burned out, still no real big problem. Now, obviously, it's going to take a little extra power to run a system like this. So what I do is I run battery cable, jumper-type cable, battery cables back to the back. I don't have one long enough, so I hook 2 together, and that's, as long as it's outside the car, I think that's safe enough. I take them right through the windshield, or where the windshield used to be, into the back seat area. And what I have in here is I got 4 batteries, and they're wired in parallel with coat hangers, and I hook them up, and they power all my extra lighting. And now the wife might think that this is kind of an ugly-looking rig, but I got a little surprise for you that might even satisfy her, but I doubt it. Now, what I've done here is I've mounted a European-style spoiler on the front, like you see on your Maseratis and Ferraris and Isuzus. And what kind of a world would this be without duct tape, I ask you? That's actually just a piece of plywood. I got a C-clamp on there, and I got an old garage door opener here, which is going to raise and lower the whole unit. Talk about sporty. So if you guys want to just throw on your welding goggles out the front there, let's give this rig a try. Well, if that isn't attractive and sporty and stylish all at the same time, then, hey, knock me down and let me get back up again. So it's that easy. You can do it yourself. You got the tools and the know-how. So until next time, remember this. If the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Don't go away. I'm sure you want to hear the end of the haircutting story.
Oh, yeah, that's a real nail biter, for sure.
Handyman corner, I'm going to take you outside and show you something you can do with something that everybody has at least one of in their backyard. An old junk car. You know, maybe you found the car, or it come with the house, or you just got up one morning and there it was, dropped out of a plane or something. You can tell a lot about people, about what kind of car and they have. And maybe they just hang out of it for sentimental value, or maybe it has no wheels, but we want to show you something that you can do with these things with a little bit of innovation. Maybe you can make a play for it for the kids, or in our case today, a fabulous, fabulous garden center. Let me show you here. Now, this is the garden shed. And in here, I keep all my gardening tools and my weed whacker, my weed whipper, my weed whip whacker, whack whipper, and the whip and whack, and the weed and the weed ears, and the weedies. They're all in here, and that little fella shouldn't be in there. Now, in this area in the car, you've always wanted a greenhouse. How about How about a greenhouse with a AM, FM radio, heat control, defrost, side vents, top vents. We don't have a sunroof on this. Maybe you're lucky enough to have a sunroof. And you could even have an air conditioner. You can adjust the air temperature just by rolling up and down the windows, or you want to just blow you want your plants to all grow one way, you just open them and just blow. And fabulous, fabulous thing. And let me show you something else we got over here. Way over the other side here. This is an interesting way to grow tomatoes. You hook them right onto the radio aerial, and then as the tomatoes grow up, so does the aerial. And the radio waves will give you a very unusual taste. Kind of well, you can set them for heavy metal or middle-of-the-road tomatoes, whatever it is that you want. Now, for your, maybe you got some tropical plants that require a little more warmth, a little more humidity. Here's your spot right here. And these things will grow. You only have to start her up 2-3 times a day, and these will just flourish in here. And, you know, you think about watering your plants and so forth, and I say, you know, why risk getting another hernia, carrying a watering can or what have you, when you've got the rad hose here. You just, you might have to put an extension on that, you know, put another couple extra feet on that, but you take her right back here. I had the greenhouse locked, and get right in there. You got we got security, full security here. Get in here, and then all you gotta do is start up your engine. And there we go, and I can just hose her right down there. Thing with that deal is you want to make sure you got the car rust-proofed. And if you want to make your own weed whacker or whip weeder, weedy whipper, weedy weed. How about this? It's the fan out of the heater. Oh, let me show you something else. Now back here, another thing you can do is you just leave the car running, and the exhaust gases, because plants work on carbon dioxide. Well, there's carbon dioxide in there, and there's something else called carbon monoxide, which is, I think, exactly the same thing. And there's lead, and there's pewter, I believe, and I think there's also oat bran in car exhaust. I'm not sure about that. It usually makes me have to go to the bathroom. Anyway, another thing I wanted to show you. This is a fabulous, fabulous invention. This is a hose reel. I mean, how many times did I run over the hose with the lawnmower before I got this baby, eh? 17. But I've got a better way of making a hose reel out of this garden center, which will save you a few bucks. Let me show you how that works. All right. So, what we're looking at here is a 200 horsepower hose reel. That saves you a heck of a lot of time and a heck of a lot of energy. And all I got to do is start up the car and drop her into reverse. But before I do, I just like to say, until next time, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. This week on Handyman Corner, gonna show you how to change a headlight. Now I know what you're saying. Everybody knows how to. Well, they don't. There's a lot of people don't know how to change a headlight, and it's something you can do yourself. And not only do you save money, but it gives you a feeling of self-reliance, because you know you can't trust anyone. Now this here is Bill Smith's car, and he told me he's got a headlight burnout, and so I thought I'd just you know, kind of do him a favor and change the headlight. I might charge him $5, you know. The screwdriver's not big enough. Screwdrivers on these, I should say the screws on these are way back in there. But you know, who the heck designs these things? Probably mechanics. Now, I can't see if the screw is a flathead or a Robinson or I can't see what kind it is. So, okay, we'll just try another method here. I think this will just pop right off here. Get that in there and take it the other side. All right. What we're going to do now is it's the wiring, I guess, that's catching that in there, and we'll just use the, this is a special tool that I keep in my closet. Some metal or something caught back in here. That's, all right, I think the wiring is the thing that's messing this up, so we'll just clip that out of there. You know, these new cars, they got so much wiring in them, it's just more things to go wrong. You know, what's just occurring to me, I think, with one of these modern cars, this is the type where the hood, the headlight comes out from behind, from out in the back, and so what you need to do is you need to open the hood. Let's try this. No, that's not it. All right. Okay, now, I think things are gonna go a little better now. Oh, gods. I can't. Oh, safety. Yeah. Okay. All right, yeah, I can get her out from the inside here, but I'm gonna have to take a few things out to get at her there. All right, get that out of the way. Windshield washer. As long as you remember what order the stuff come out, we'll be fine. No, I still can't get her. Now, you know the saying we got the lodge. If at first you don't succeed, switch to power tools. Tell you something, I'm gonna charge Bill $10. She's coming. Yep, she's coming. Oh, yeah. Almost got her there now. Got it. Oh, yeah. She's coming. All right. No problem. And what we've done here is we've freed up the plug. So I'll just get the replacement bulb, pop that in. We're all set. I'll just give that a try, see how it looks. Perfect. Oh. Well, I guess this was the burned out headlight. Well, it won't take as long now because we know how to do it. I'm gonna charge Bill, I think, $200 or $300 for this. Anyway, until next time, remember, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. This week on Handyman Corner, I thought I would do something for all of you people who've always wanted to join the volunteer fire department, but never have. Maybe you don't have time, maybe you can't pass a physical, or maybe you just don't want to spend your weekends with the kinds of losers that are attracted to that type of hobby. Well, maybe there's a better way. Instead of trying to turn normal citizens into firemen, how about trying to turn a normal car into a fire truck? Haven't we all thrilled to the sight of a fire truck roaring down the street, whipping by you on the way to a blaze that you never started on purpose? I mean, Wasn't my fault. I think electrical appliances have got to have better warnings on them. Yeah. Okay, now, first thing any fire truck's got to have is an axe, a shovel, and a pick. All right, now in a fire truck, I have all this stuff on the outside so the firefighters can get to it in emergency, like, say, a fire. Well, we can do the same thing. What you want to do is take a drill and drill holes in your trunk larger than the diameter of the handles, and then they'll be sticking right out there for you to get. Well, okay, let's start drilling. And don't worry about any damage here, because we're going to paint this whole baby fire engine red. Perfect. Now, you notice how fire trucks have lots of flashing lights? Well, so do you. They're all hanging on your eavesdrop because you never took them down, right? Well, go pull them down and hook them up with an extension cord. Because any fire that's farther away than the length of my extension cord is probably none of my business. All right, now you want to hook them on there. You could use metal clips on that or any of the plastic fasteners. Or, of course, the Handyman secret weapon, duct tape. All right, now, fire trucks have sirens, and of course your horn is a good start there. But I'll tell you, for that little extra noise, what you want to do is loosen off your alternator belt and your fan belt and your power steering belt just a little bit. And then, when you start her up, everybody will hear you coming. For extra effect, you can even punch a few holes in the muffler if you want. Now, everybody knows that fire trucks have hoses, so what you can do, get yourself a bunch of these hoses on reels like this. You can get them at the hardware store, or you can just borrow one from somebody when they're not around. You can attach them on here with bolts, or weld them right on there, or, that's right. And don't worry if they don't match, because we're going to paint this whole thing a beautiful fire engine red. Now you want to take one end of your hoses and hook them right into your water pump. So you don't just have a fire truck here, you got a pumper truck. Now, of course, every fire truck has to have a ladder. A ladder that will go in any direction. Because fire happens in any direction, and you may park in any direction. So what you need for that is some kind of a rotating platform with an axle down through the center of her. Easy to do. You want to make sure nobody's sitting in the car when you do this. And there we got a ladder where you can fight fires in two directions at the same time. And she goes up and down, just like the units do on the real fire trucks, and at a fraction of the cost. All right, a couple of final details here. You want to got some buckets of sand here hanging off the front, a little bit of water here. And you got your emergency oxygen unit here. Of course, you want to empty the propane out of that, put the oxygen in. I'm not quite sure how you do that, but I'm guessing it's important. And you got your smoke detectors on here to let you know when you're getting real close to the fire. So we're basically ready for any arsonist. I'm not sure what an arsonist is, but it sounds like the kind of thing we have plenty of up here at the lodge. Oh my gosh, a fire. All right, plug in our lights here. They show up better at a night fire. And away we go. Maybe I shouldn't have disconnected the water pump. Fire! Fire! Remember, women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. And don't worry about the black color here. We're going to paint the whole thing a beautiful fire engine red. Yeah, she's out. When you live in the colder climates, there are some vehicles that attract a certain amount of attention. You know, you got the snowplow and the 4x4, snowmobile, that kind of thing. But if you want to really grab attention, get yourself a Zamboni. For those of you who live down south, a Zamboni's not a pasta dish, it's a big thing like that, and it's, you know what, it's the thing they use to make ice on the rinks. Well, you'll see. Now, you gotta have pretty deep pockets to buy a Zamboni, so today on Handyman Corner, we're gonna build our own using, once again, our vehicle of choice, the K-car. Now, you don't have to use a K-car. I suppose you could build an Oldsmobile, but we like the K car because of the combination of availability, cost, and a sense of revenge. Let's get started. All right, now I took the windshield out of there for a couple of reasons. First of all, the fun. Whoa. And secondly, I needed to hook up my Zamboni steering wheel down to the actual car steering wheel. See, I put a pulley on there and a piece of rope, and here's how the deal works. When I turn the Zamboni wheel to the right, see, it turns the car steering wheel to the left, okay? But we're going backwards, so we end up going to the right, so it all works out, eh? Plus, we'll be driving on ice, so how dangerous can that be? And here's the third thing. Because of where I got the pedals mounted there, when I step on the gas or the brake, I've actually got my feet right over the defroster vent there, and I'll tell you, in the dead of winter, nothing brings a smile to your face like a draft whipping through your pants. And I'm sure a bunch of you are saying, hey, you know what? That right there is enough fun for me. We're not done yet. Oh, no, sir. Because a real Zamboni is actually a fully functional ice maintenance machine. That's where we're heading, yeah. Because the real Zambonis, don't they have the hot water tanks there, and the hot water goes down the ice and melts it and smooths it over? Well, we don't have the hot water tanks, but the beauty of a K car, it's not all that hard to get some kind of hot fluid leaking somewhere. Perfect. All right, now I just need something I can drag behind the unit to scrape the ice and kind of smooth out the water. Oh, this'll work. All right, I got the car bumper here to knock the big chunks off the ice, and then I got the car floor mats to kind of smooth them out. One more step, and then we're all done. You know, you're going to be driving this unit around the arena. You're going to be turning a few heads. Why not put it to good use? Every Zamboni has advertising on the side. Why should yours be any different? I sure hope he appreciates that. All right, let's give her a go. You know what they say? The proof of the pudding is in the Zamboni. So remember, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. You can almost hear the organ music, can't you? Oh boy. Right here is the second best way to shovel snow. You've seen the deal. Something like this, and then... Oh! Gosh, I've lost my shovel. But if you're married, like I am, you know that cheesy excuses only work once. So this week on Handyman Corner, we're going to show you a better way to plow snow by making a snowplow. We're going to actually use this door as our plow because so far at the lodge, we're not using it as a door. All right, you see we have a bit of a problem. The door's kind of sitting low on the ground there, so we need something for it to slide on. Now I could put a toboggan under there, or maybe one of those flying saucers, but then I remember the handyman code, huh? Put something you don't use to good use. So I'm gonna use these cross-country skis that Bernice gave me for my birthday after the checkup. A little bit too long, so what I would do is just trim them down and just use the tips on those. That would probably work pretty good. Yeah, if you don't have a pair of these, you can pick them up real cheap at a garage sale every time a fat guy has one. All right, that's got her. But you know me, I like to be doing two things at once. That way I can move slower. So if I can also be salting and sanding while I'm plowing, that'll really get the neighbors talking. So what you want to do is get yourself a couple of salt shakers from your local restaurant. You're thinking to yourself, how the heck am I going to get salt shakers from the restaurant? I'll tell you something. Deep pockets help. All right, take the salt shakers and attach them to your tires with the Handyman secret weapon. Now those units look pretty sharp, don't they? Of course, the key to any kind of a snowplow is you got to have some weight in the back to make her work. So, I'm gonna throw a few yards of sand into the back of the van there. Not only will it give me the weight, the sand will sift down through the rust holes in the floor there and sand the road and rust the road. All right. Oh. You know, that floor doesn't look too bad. I'm gonna have to punch some holes in that myself. Boy. Well, you might want to wear ear protectors if you... Can you hear me? You smell gas? Can you everybody hear me? Am I talking? Hello? Hello? Oh, jeez, my voice is gone. right. Now you want a way that everybody's gonna be able to see you coming. So I went down to one of them garage sales, got myself a couple of turntables here. And these go real fast if you set them on 78 RPM. At least that's what my grandfather told me. So remember, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Gardening is a lot of work. I know because I often zap by the gardening channel between games. But you know the thing I don't like about gardening? Well, there are so many, but the main one is that you're totally at the whim of the weather. Well, no more. I can drive this portable garden to get the weather I want. I can drive it into the sun or sneak it under my neighbor's sprinkler for watering. Heck, if there's a risk of frost, I can park my whole garden in the garage. Now, I know some people grow stuff for salads and casseroles, but they eat vegetables. I got a way better idea. Take a bucket of water, throw a little sugar in there. Actually, a lot of sugar. Then you add some brewer's yeast. Okay, mix that stuff real good in there. Then what you want to do is pour that into your gas tank. That's going to become the base of your alternate fuel. Now all we do is add some corn from our portable garden here. So first of all, get rid of your gas cap, replace that with a battery-powered carburetor, and you're in business. Okay, just let that ferment in there for a while, as you do with all the truly good things in life. And then you're good to go. I'll tell you, that's the cheapest fuel you'll ever find. So remember, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. You might be a little hard to start, and actually when it does get going, it smells like a giant tortilla. Make sure you don't sit in the unit too long. You could get root rot. This week on Handyman Corner, we're going to do one of the most common and yet one of the most difficult handyman projects. We're going to hang a door. Now here we have a portable washroom facility whose door has been ripped off during some type of a gastronomical emergency. And over here, we have a door. So all we got to do is get these two together. First thing you got to do is make sure that the door is the same size as the hole it's going to go in. No, see, a little too tall. So we'll just marker and no lead in my pencil. We've all been there, haven't we? I'll tell you, car keys works just as well. Marker up, and then cut off the excess. Got our door cut now. All we gotta do is mark where the hinges go, stick them on. Oh, all right, now you see what the problem we've got here. We've cut down far enough into the door that we're into the hollow section, and that's no good because we'll get the rain and shingles and hornet's nest, anything falls off the but you know what? There's a real simple solution. Flip her over. All right. Just mark where the hinges go and stick them on there. All right, now I got the hinge things marked here, and I got to cut these out so the hinges will fit. Now, ordinarily, I would use a chisel for that, but I don't have a chisel. I mean, I did have a chisel, but I had it for more than a week, so it's more of a screwdriver at this point. That's what happens when you use them as a hammer. So what I'm going to do is just actually use the hinge itself, and that way I know I'll have a perfect fit. Right now, you might want to have a couple extra hinges when you're doing this, just in case. There we go, we're all set. Just attach our hinges to our door jamb. Just like this, Marie. Okay, see what you've done here? You've mounted the hinges on the wrong side. They're going the wrong way, and now the door is going to open in. That's not going to work for a shed this small. Plus, real dangerous in the fire. and around the lodge, we have plenty of those. But you know what? That easy to fix. But not that easy. All right, now I find it a lot easier to put the screws in with a hammer than it is, you know, getting all those blisters on your hand from a screwdriver. Oh no, that's a chisel. All right, so we just take her over now and mount her on the side there and just horse her in. And she's just that easy. And a beautiful job. All right, now you could make a few. There's always adjustments with a door. You can cut that off and... No, that's not gonna work. I got an idea. Where there's a van, there's a way. Beautiful, beautiful job. So remember, if women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Find me in the shed.